Welcome, bet riders around the world. My name is Gary Solomon, and you're watching the Laidback Bike Report Town Hall number 6. Yeah, we have a very special show for you today, a very unusual one, a departure from our usual shows. So I hope it's something you guys will enjoy. Let me tell you just real quickly about our town hall segments that we do every week now. They feature you, the viewers, as guests. We try to bring the guys that watch the show on and show off what it is that they do that their fellow bet riders might be interested in. We typically will have an Ask Me Anything session with an industry leader. We don't do that today, but we will get back to that on the next town hall. And panel discussions are also a big part of what we try to accomplish. Again, not on this special show, but we have a great panel of experts on the recumbent scene that can answer your questions, and we will bring them back for the next town hall, of course. Now, in today's town hall, we're going to bring you 5 recumbent musicians that are going to share some of their original work with all of you. This has been created just for us and for this show, so we're very honored to have these fine guys having put together this work just for the show. I hope you guys like it. All right, let's meet the crew that have worked so hard on this show to put this together in a way that's a little bit more unusual than what they're typically used to. First of all, from Salzgitter, Germany, it's Lars Kamm. Hello, Lars.
Hi, guys.
And from Jackson, Mississippi, or thereabouts, it is our media guy. It's Trey Burgoyne. Hey, Trey.
Howdy, folks.
And out in Colorado Springs, in the mountains, his head way up in the sky as usual, it's Larry Seidman. Hello, Larry.
Hello, Gary and everyone else.
All right, Larry's going to handle the banners and the name tags today, and I didn't say it, but Lars, of course, is doing the directing, as always. See what he just did there? That was amazing. Thank you, Lars. All right, guys, let's start out today, first of all, by telling you a little bit about the sponsors who make this show possible. First of all, TerraCycle, makers of exquisite recumbent parts and accessories for your bent. And Trailside.bike, a fine recumbent bike shop on the Withlacoochee Trail in Florida. For a limited time, get a free trike for your buddy when you buy a new Azub or HP trike at Trailside. Check the link in the description below for restrictions and details. And Cruise Bike, designed for the cyclist who wants to ride farther, climb faster, and adventure more. All cruise bikes and frame sets ship free in the USA. And TerraTrike. Every participant in TerraTrike's virtual Rider Fest will receive an entry into a raffle for a new TerraTrike of their choice, including the much anticipated TerraTrike Spider and GTS. Ride what you like, but get out and ride. Look for details on the TerraTrike website at terratrike.com/riderfest or on the TerraTrike Facebook page. And the Hostel Shop, America's premier recumbent dealer with the largest variety of recumbents, parts, and accessories in stock and ready to ship to your door. All right, guys. So let's jump right into the music if we can. I want to let's start out with Kevin Brown. Now he's in Box, Wiltshire, and here's the first piece he sent us.
One of these days I won't land on my seat. I'll go flat on my back. Hi, everybody. Here's a song called "The Train Will Come." Oh, yeah. Yeah. People come, people go, winds of change always blow. Don't be sad, you're not the only one. When you serve your time, your train will come. Some will fall, some will fly, some will just let life pass them by. So don't be sad, you're not the only one. When you serve your time, your train will come. And when you hear that whistle blow, you better be ready, ready to go. When you hear those wheels coming round the bend, better take your chance, it won't happen again. So don't be sad, you're not the only one. When you serve your time, your train will come. One by one, side by side, down those rails of steel we will ride. So don't be sad, you're not the only one. When you serve your time, your train will come. And when you hear that whistle blow, you better be ready, ready to go. When you hear those wheels coming round the bend, better take your chance, it won't happen again. So don't be sad, you're not the only one. When you serve your time, your train will come. When you serve your time, your train will come. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Brown. Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
That was a wonderful piece. So your train will come. First of all, welcome to the Laidback Bike Report. It's an honor to have you here.
Oh, well, what can I say? What can I say? Words fail me, Gary.
This is a really poor time for words to fail you, Kevin. But don't worry, we're going to have more music from you here in a minute. Let me be more specific. I'm sure that it'll all come to you. Tell me a little bit about that song, that Your Train Will Come.
Okay. I believe, if I recall correctly, that was written almost to myself. I had a deadline to finish writing in order to begin to record an album, and I got a block and I couldn't do anything. No matter what I tried to do, I just couldn't. And I kind of wrote that song for myself to say, don't worry, you will get through this. And it was weird that that actually broke the ice, you know. So that was the moment when that song arose, really. It was actually finished in Clarksdale, Mississippi, a couple of years ago by a friend of mine who gave me help with a couple of lines on it. But it's just, it's just, you know.
It turns out to be a great intro, I think, for your music anyway. So let's talk a little bit about your music and your musical background for folks who don't know. We're going to get to your recumbent writing here shortly, but tell us about your musical background, Kevin.
Well, I was born and raised in Preston, Lancashire, a cotton mill town. And before I ever touched a guitar, I was football crazy. But I
found my first guitar when I was about 11 or 12 years old, I believe. And then not long after that, we had a live broadcast from a railway station in Manchester, not far from my hometown, featuring Muddy Waters, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, Willie Dixon, and Otis Spann. And my father and I could not believe what we were seeing on the television. And we both instantly became true blues fans. And that was my baptism into the blues, watching that black and white television. So I was 14 years old then. And that was it. You know, football just sort of took a back seat, soccer. And both my dad and I got heavily, became very passionate about it. And that was my beginning. And then, strangely enough, so that 5 or 6 years later, I was busking in Portobello Road. And that used to take me a couple of hours to hitch down to from Preston. And I used to hitch down on a Sunday to the market in Portobello Road. On Saturday night, I would be at home listening to my blues records, one of which was an album by Son House. Would you believe that when I was busking the next day, he actually appeared in the audience watching me? And a gentleman walked up to me and he said, "Do you know any songs by Son House?" And I was just so embarrassed because they're very difficult to play. And, I don't tackle these. These are mystical things that I just leave, So I apologized. And basically what they did, they gave me some money, which I put in my case, and they said, "Come with us." And they looked after me for the day. And I ended up looking after Son House while his manager then, Dick Waterman, did some chores. And Son House taught me 3 highly valuable things that I applied to my love of blues. And to this day, which you heard in that song there, one of the things he instilled that I did was rhythm. Another one was to start writing my own songs and start to wrap the slide, weave your slide playing into the songs that you're writing, and
that shows. Yeah, that shows, because you did that on that first song. Okay, let's I want to get to your bike riding, but let's wrap up the musical part. I know you also have made trips to the US to learn more about the blues and such. Tell me quickly how that went. When did you come, and what did you learn while you were here? Who did you see?
Well, the first trip was a pilgrimage, really, to the Gunter Hotel in San Antonio, which I didn't actually find. But because of that, I ended up living in Austin, Texas, which was the greatest open university for musical education. And for the last few years, I've been going regularly to Clarksdale, Mississippi, and further soaking up the magic and learning all the time. Yeah, and I'm a songwriting, blues-loving velonaut.
That is a great way to get into talking about the biking that you do. So how did you, I think the first thing we need to talk about is how did you get into and discover recumbent riding in the first place? Where did you start?
That happened because of my interest in building model gliders, which I've done. When I was 10 years old, I built model gliders, had a bicycle, and played football. And little has changed. So through my interest in flying gliders, I met a man called Martin Cowley, who went on to work for Air Environment, who were the company behind the Gossamer Condor, which crossed the English Channel, the human-powered aircraft, in 1978. And I got an opportunity to get involved in this in a very backroom kind of way. But there I saw my first recumbents. The pilot, Brian Allen, in 1978, would train for this channel crossing in a recumbent. And that was my baptism. And then I went to a festival in Britain of human-powered flight, human-powered vehicles. And that's when I met Mike Burrows with his speedy machines, and also saw the first fully fed, what were they called?
Let's pop up that slide of you on the trike early on. You can tell us how this fits into it, though.
Yeah, man, that's my record label there, Doodah Records. Everybody needs one, by the way. So that tricycle I'm sitting was a Speedy. It was a wind cheater designed.
Speaking of Mike Burrows, right?
Yeah. But it wasn't mine. That was owned by a man called Glenn Thompson, who had come up to Bath from London that weekend to help me build my Speedy kit, because I could never afford a fully built thing. But then Mr. Burrows issued the kits, and well, we were up and running. So he lent me his Speedy in order to go out and try it out, and we just passed by my record, the head office there.
All right, so let's jump to more recent times, and there is what you're riding today. Tell us how, as we stay on this slide, tell us how you discovered velomobiles and how you ended up getting this particular kind. Tell us what it is.
I've just remembered the name of the first velomobile I saw, which was the Vector, at the Zappel Festival of Human Power in Britain. So why that? Oh, I went to Spetsy. And there I examined as many velomobiles as I could. And I met Harry Lieben there. And that.
And when was this, Kevin?
Pardon?
When?
5 years ago.
Okay.
But the Mango has turned out to be perfect for me, because it's got great load carrying capabilities. I use mine as often as I can as a utility vehicle. I enjoy going fast in it if I can. It's so practical. It's strong. It's not the lightest. It's not the fastest. But for me, it's perfect. And
All right, let's go to the next slide here as we continue to look at it. Go ahead.
So one of the beauties of the Mango is that it's short enough to fit into my Citroen Berlingo. I take all the seats out, and the nose joins me in the front to the left, and I put those two ramps up in the roof area whilst we're traveling. And on top, I have a roof tent, which we have a picture of.
Yeah, let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about this, and we will get to the roof tent.
That shows you how much stuff I can carry in there. So it ticks those boxes for me. Most of that goes in the back or down the side of me. And there's still plenty of room in the front, which I haven't utilized yet.
All right, let's go to the next picture here.
Oh, my word.
What is that?
Who's that? Dale. So there we have everything. The Resodan, that's the Mango with the tour cap on, which I use in winter. And that was filmed at a shot at a disused airfield just outside my town here in Bath.
And
so
that is in fact a cover of a CD that we're gonna talk about here in a minute. Let's not get to there just yet, but amazing picture. I love that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Next one. Let's go to the next one here. Okay, yeah, here we go with the tent on top. Tell us about how this all works.
Okay, so with the velomobile inside, which only takes a minute or two to get in there, and the tent just takes a moment to get it ready. I can travel anywhere I like in Europe, but not only that, I can travel at 55 miles per gallon in that vehicle. So when I get there, I'm completely self-contained, and it's made for a very interesting, wonderful, economic life.
A great combination of vehicles then for you, isn't it? That's great.
Absolutely perfect. In fact, there is a vehicle that's slightly shorter than the Mango, which is the oh, come on, we were talking about it the other day and I've forgotten the name. It's the new one from Sinner that Harry worked
on. The Hilgo.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah. So the Hilgo's slightly shorter, even still, than the Mango. But that's my package. Yeah, very excited.
Very nice. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, tell us. So we saw all that stuff stashed next to the Mango that you use, and now this is your setup. Tell us a little bit about what you do when you go riding in that Mango.
Well, I use it for shopping. I use it for busking. I can get my guitar and my amplifier inside there. I use it for rehearsals. I use it every day. I use it as much as I possibly can. And one of the things I enjoy doing is popping out to the local woods and sketching. I've rekindled my love for drawing. That seat goes by the side perfectly. I'll have music on my phone, very nice and gentle and soothing music, and sit and draw. What more do I need? It's
right. Let's take a look at what you might. There you go. There's one of Kevin's drawings. They're beautiful. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah, that looks very relaxing. That's something we could all use right about now, isn't it? That is beautiful, Kevin. All right. That's amazing. Trey, if you could go back to that slide, the cover of the CD, and as we talk about this, and then we can pop it back up. Kevin, tell us what's coming up for you musically here. You told me something about a new CD or something. Tell us about when that's coming out and what it involves.
Okay, so a lot of the work I'm doing right now, up until the launch of this, which is June the 1st, a lot of the work I'm doing is introducing people to what I do, to my sound and my songs, so that when this does launch on June the 1st, we'll have a fairly decent sized audience to whom we can shout about the release of this. This is one of the best records I've ever made. I love the sound of it. It was done very, very naturally. A lot of it was live. I'm very, very proud of it.
And that first song that you played, Your Train Will Come, is actually on. Is that on this album, or is that not a previous album?
Yeah, that's on this one.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, very good.
This is my road band on the album.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right. So we're going to need to finish up here. I want to let folks know that Kevin is a huge advocate of sustainable transportation, especially obviously using velomobiles. He's real passionate about this, and he's got a lot to say on it. And we're going to have him back. I have plans to put together a show about sustainable transportation, especially with velomobiles. Kevin, we'll have you back on for that on a panel, and we'll talk more about that. But for now, I think we're going to call this the end of your segment. Let's, if we can, play out with this second. I love this song. I think it's called Alamo. I don't. Is that the right name? What's the name of it?
Okay, it's called Lancashire Blood on a Texas Floor. And when I was in San Antonio looking for the Gunter Hotel where Robert Johnson recorded, I went round the Alamo and I discovered that two guys from Preston, my hometown, were found dead on the floor. And that's what the morning after the battle, 1836. And it blew my mind what two guys from Lancashire were doing in San Antonio that long ago. So this is a song I wrote.
This is a touching song. Kevin Brown, thank you so much for joining us on the Laidback Bike Report. We will see you again soon, pal, and you take care of yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
All right, let's play it.
Way down south, a long time ago, sun went down on Alamo. Snakes stopped crawling, wind stood still. Whole town knew there was gonna be a kill. They're a long way from home in another man's war. There was Lancashire blood on the Texas floor. Fishing bell rang, San Antonio. man came up to fight from Mexico. William Travis volunteers. Stared death in the face, had no fear. They're a long way from home, another man's war. There was Lancashire blood on the Texas floor. After 7 long days, 7 hard nights, there's nobody left standing up to fight. So for every star, every strike, man gave his life. They were a long way from home, in another man's world. There was Lancashire blood on the Texas floor. Way down south, long time ago. The sun went down the Alamo. Way down south, a long time ago.
Kevin Brown, folks. Another wonderful rendition and a great song. Thank you so much, Kevin. Let's, guys, move along now to Thurso, Scotland, where we've got our pal Jon Hodkin of InnerTuba fame. John's been on a few times, as you guys know. He's back to talk about what he's doing in lockdown. It's going to be a lot of practice and learning audio recording techniques, I think, is what he's going to talk about. And he's also promoting the idea of InnerTuba introducing house concerts into his future tours. So whenever we can all get back on the road, I know Jon is going to be out there promoting these concerts. So, Jon, come on up here. Hello, Jon.
Hello there, Gary. How are you this evening or this afternoon for you?
Depending on where we are, doing great, Jon. It's good to see you as always. So
thank you so much.
Let's jump into the house concert concept, I guess you might say. Tell us what this is about.
Okay, just before that, thanks so much to Kevin Brown. Wasn't that lovely? It was
Wasn't
beautiful. The house concert concept is purely the idea of people hosting concerts in their own homes. So I had the idea, having seen a few of them over the last few years and having attended some of them, I thought, well, I could maybe do this. And I had the opportunity to present my first house concert in just before our UK lockdown at the end of January here at recumbent tricyclist Stuart's house You've just seen a picture of that in the build up to it there. Yeah.
Okay. And so I guess maybe to further explain what this is all about, we've got a video that was made while you did that first concert.
Yes.
Go ahead. Do you want to say a little
Yes,
more?
special thanks to Pat Douglas. These things come round and go round. She happened to be available to come and film and then subsequently edit this this clip from the first house concert at Stuart, Alex, and Sandra's house, and she actually also was one of the few people back in the year 2000 who introduced me to recumbent tricycling. You know, she's actually a luminary in all of that and knows an awful lot about it. So there's a synergy there all around. You know, so thanks to Pat for turning up with all her techno wizardry, and thanks to her for putting all this together for us.
All right. Well, let's have a look at her technical wizardry and some of your musical wizardry right now, shall we?
Yeah.
Give us choices, said voices. Give us easy, entertain us. Give us sight, give us noises.
All right. So, Jon, that was wonderful to see what you did there. Let's maybe back up a little bit. So most folks who watch the Laidback Bike Report have seen you on before and know that last year you made the trip to the U.S. and you did Ragbri with your trike and a trailer and played the tuba on the way. A wonderful, wonderful experience for you and all the people that you met, I know. And you had some plans for doing another trip this year, which obviously things have changed from when you initially made the plan. So tell us how the lockdown and the coronavirus has affected your plans that you had.
Yeah, the original plan was that, thanks again to Ice Trikes and Connecticut Yankee Peddler over in Chariton, Iowa, I was going to start pedaling the entire length of the Mississippi River Trail, starting south of New Orleans and ending up in near to the Canadian border in Minnesota, giving performances all the way. I just don't think it's viable to even think about starting to do that. It might be okay if the whole thing wasn't so heavily dependent upon, community involvement all the way along. That is going to old people's homes and day centers for people with learning disabilities and playing with community bands and all of that sort of thing. But the idea right now of contacting those sorts of people who are, deep in difficulties looking after their folks is just not viable. So I had a chat with Dave Hendricks just last night. I managed to get hold of him from Connecticut Yankee Peddler, and we're still keen for it to happen as and when that can be. But none of us know when that can be. There's so many issues at stake for international travel at the moment that we're keeping an open mind about it. And I'm fairly relaxed. I'm quite lucky that I'm one of the people who can lock down relatively comfortably.
All right. So we're going to get back to the house concerts in a minute, but let's take a look now at what's going on with you there in Thurso right now under lockdown. So I want to know how you're dealing with it on a daily basis. Are you out riding your trike at all? How has it affected you?
Yeah, I thought about how to answer this question, Gary, because I knew you were going to ask it, and I'm not out riding at the moment. I think that for ordinary people, and our lockdown in the UK isn't as draconian as it has been in Spain and Italy and places like that, where they absolutely were not allowed to go out on their trikes and bikes. Here we are allowed to, and we can go out, and I would absolutely encourage anybody to do so if they feel that it's going to be helpful to them. But at the same time, the message, as I see it, is very, very simple, and that is stay at home. And I'm one of the people who is lucky enough to have enough space about me with loans of other people's gardens and loans of people's houses that are away to have enough space to be able to quote unquote stay at home. And so, you know, I don't need to be out on my trike, and leave that to the people who have got more difficult home circumstances, who need to have the space to go out. You know, for example, if I were to go for a walk along the beach, and we've got beautiful beaches here, I might encounter people who need that space more than me at the moment. So I'm quite happy to be locked down, and so I'm not riding my trike at the moment. I've had plenty of adventures in the past. I'm confident that at some point, when the world sorts itself out, I will have more adventures again, and so I'm happy with the training rollers within four walls. Yeah.
Very good. All right, John Elliott, here's a comment you need to hear. Those nice low sounds are great for our old eardrums that can't pick out the high notes anymore, he says.
Yeah, John, you're absolutely right. And I've done some work with people who have hearing impairments. And one of the things about low frequency sounds like this is that they can be felt as well as heard. And so therefore it's absolutely super for people for whom we know that they're, you know, deaf, for example, or for people who we're not quite sure, because of a profound series of multiple disabilities, how much information that they're taking in from the world around them. And low frequencies is visceral. You can feel them as well as hear them. And I think that that's one of the beauties of these lovely old. I always, you know, I find that I go to the base of every instrument of every piece of music. I listen to music from the bottom up. The best, you know, clarinets are the bass clarinet, the best string instruments are the double bass, and so it goes. This particular instrument, I just want to say this because this is another sort of synergy. My main tuba is still in Iowa in the USA following last year's tour, because we were anticipating that I'd just sort of pick it up and rather than ship it back and forwards, leave it there until I could come and use it again. But this lovely, beautiful old instrument was my second tuba, and it was bashed up, and I didn't really have much regard for it. But it's been done up recently by a tuba luminary called Mike Johnson down in Manchester in northwest England, and he's done a wonderful job on it. And I'm so delighted because he had the vision to see that that it was going to repair and be a good machine. And it's 90 years old, and the sounds that you're hearing today have been produced on that. Beyond that, he's also part of our crew in that he has just recently bought a Haza Pinot secondhand, so that him and his lovely wife Karen, who's a clarinetist and singer, can get out together with their differing physical abilities and enjoy recumbent riding down there in Manchester. So you know, it just goes round, doesn't it?
It does, John. All right, so let's I want to finish up with one last question about what's going on with you. I know, and our viewers know, that you are a renowned warm showers host. You used warm showers when you were on tour, and you are a great warm showers host. And of course, that has to have changed as well. Tell us what you've had there as far as warm showers guests in the past, and what's going on right now. And we can go to the slides, guy.
That's outside one of my two tiny little properties. That's one of the I'm renovating that house behind, and that was taken just before I came to Iowa last year. Now Thurso is on the famous route of Land's End to John O'Groats, or John O'Groats to Land's End, and we're about 20 miles here west of the destination, you know, the northernmost point of that, John O'Groats. And so all the time, usually I've got people from warm showers coming through, you know, 10 people a week through the summer. I also run a little Airbnb, and that's all completely locked down. So we haven't got any tourists here at the moment, and we don't know how we're going to find our way back economically.
Next slide.
Or what. that's there's another couple of people, warm showers people. So the whole idea of home and being able to reciprocate hospitality and be open to people is something that I'm sadly missing at the moment, because we all have to be isolated, and so it's beautiful shows like this that help us to get over that sort of stuff.
Right. And that last slide, please, Trey. So last of the warm showers pictures.
Yeah. Just two couples who happened to turn up on the same night from different nationalities. I can't remember where they were from now, but that was last year.
So creating a home. I mean, that's what this is about. And I know that's segue us into this last segment, bringing us back to your plans for the future with these house concerts. Tell us what your plan is, Jon.
Well, I think that we will be able to return, and it's a great. We're all missing it. Those of us who live for being on the road and live for traveling. Of course, it's difficult for us to lock down, and people have found themselves stranded in different parts of the world at the moment. But we will come to a point where we can adventure again. We're not quite sure how that's going to be or how it's going to pan out. So what I'm suggesting is that if I can put forward the idea that anybody in any part of the world can put themselves forward as a potential host of a house concert, if they've got a house that's big enough, and it doesn't have to be that big, and then we can put a pin in the map, and we can see how the world unfolds and whether it's going to be possible to go there. And at the moment, as we'll see in the video we're about to show, I've got invitations from Australia and New Zealand. I've got one in India. I've got one in Sweden. I've got quite a few in Scotland at the moment, and we don't know how the world is going to open up, and with what restrictions and what opportunities. But I think I want to take a leaf out of Kevin Brown's book. I think part of my new touring might have to be a little bit more spontaneous. So putting together a busking show would be a good idea, coupled with house concerts. And at each house concert, if I get the chance to put the bucket round and make some money, because we all need a bit of that, then that might fund me to stay a bit longer in that town, and if they're open, go and do a show thanks to the generosity of the people at the house concert in the old people's home. It might have to be as spontaneous as that.
Of course. All right. So we're going to close, Jon, with this last video that we worked on together to explain and to show the folks what you have in mind, and to hear a wonderful song. So I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to let you cue it in, but tell us before we go about this song that is on this video and what it's about.
I think it says it in the text as we see the video, that comes through, because thanks to your generosity. Now, folks, listen to this. Gary J. Solomon, the man with the green hat, he and I for the last week have been working collaboratively and artistically on this video, which you're about to see. And he should not, and we should not, underestimate the amount of artistic talent that this man has. I had the sort of storyline idea. I had the wonderful association with Willie Gilmore, who's my co-performer and the composer of this piece here. But the visuals are all entirely down to the artistry of Gary Solomon, and I can't thank him enough. It's a wonderful piece of creativity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jon. No wonder you keep coming back. I have to have you back after you pitch me up like that. All right, folks, let's see. Jon, thank you so much. We'll have you back again, of course, again soon. So thanks.
We'll see you all. Take care. Stay safe, everybody.
Right, let's play the music. All right. Thank you, Jon Hodkin. Beautiful piece. So going home, well, here's a guy who is almost never at home. That goes even for right now. Now, our next guest is somewhere in New Zealand. It's David Brandenberger. And David is a really interesting guy we've had on the show before. And if you don't know what he does, this video is going to show you exactly what he does. Let's play it. From so far away, it's already tomorrow morning. Folks, there he is, David Brandenberger. Hello, David.
Hi. I couldn't take my face mask off.
Yeah, you've grown your own face mask, which is that's very creative. Hey, welcome. It's great to have you back on the show.
Hey, thanks.
All right.
Great to be back.
Super. Tell us about that song that we just heard that you've put together with that trailer. Tell us about the song.
Oh, that song was written, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago or something like that. And I just keep on working on that song. And as I was once back in Switzerland and needed to have some songs for my slideshow, I went to my friend. He's a drummer. And we just played that together. And about the third or fourth take, that was it. And yeah, I'm really happy with this song because it's a little bit a mixture of all what I do. I'm really based in the blues, and but I also like a little bit more heavier thing like rock and heavy metal or something like that. But still also some other things like funk, and so you have a little bit that funk style in that. And it's funny that even the hard part, the chorus that is used from another band, from the Christian metal band Striper. Some later they had a recording, and we don't know each other, but they write a song that sounds just like mine. It calls Take It to the Cross, Take It to the Cross, and it's just like the same what I wrote years before. So Michael Sweet, that's my idea, not yours.
There you go. Tell him. All right. So that rhythm, it's amazing. I love that. All right. So you mentioned Switzerland. You are Swiss, and you started a little while back on this long journey from Switzerland. And I know it's not your first one, but let's talk about the solo trike. So on this most recent journey, tell us where the solo trike has taken you when you left Switzerland. Where have you been?
Yeah, that was nearly 5 years ago now. I left June 2015 in Czech Republic, all to Poland, Germany, down to Greece and Turkey, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Iran, through the stands like Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and then to China. And the second part where you have seen on this trailer, I went through China, South Korea, and then down to around Australia, and now through the whole of New Zealand from the top to the bottom. So you of course were planning on just continuing along, and I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. So, but right now, after the coronavirus struck, you found yourself in New Zealand planning to make your next move. So tell us what happened. Where were you going, and tell us what happened to you when your plans were apparently foiled. Yeah, I really was just on the go. And the same week that the lockdown was issued, I had to ship the trike one to Canada. But that lockdown came so quickly, I couldn't change any plans or whatever. So I just thought it's best to keep it here, because I don't know where to store it in Canada, because I already had organized some hosts where I could be, but that's gone with that lockdown. So I have to change very quickly all this. It was really one day after the other was a new decision made. So I just canceled the shipping. I left it here, and
I have to do some repairs anyway, so I have to exchange one of the front motors. So I have to wait for international postage can reopen again, and do some repairs, and then I will see that I can find some storage place where I can store that small thing here for the next half a year or something like that, and we'll come back in March or so, and just continuing like I planned.
So the plan is then to put it in storage, and then you'll head back to Switzerland for the duration until you figure you can get back on the road.
Yeah. I mean, the plan was anyway that I will go back for next winter, like September, October, back to Switzerland, spend the winter there, and go further on next spring. But yeah.
Got it. Okay. So, well, that's great, David. And we wish you the best and hope you can we'll contact you again when you get back on the road and see how that all goes. In the meantime, I think we're going to say goodbye, and let's finish off with this song. I put your song Laidback Dream to some slides that we had for you. Can you tell us about Laidback Dream? What's that song about?
Yeah, Laidback Dream is just mainly just like a kind of a jam thing. That's another instrumental piece. It's very funny because normally I write more music with lyrics, because lyrics is for me the main thing to express something, or so. Mainly I write more the lyrics before and then the music, but as I said, I needed to have some instrumental music, so I came up with this one. That was just a pre-recorded drumming in the program that I use for cutting all this music together, and I just laid it run and played to that, and what just came out of my mind, and then put some bass and some rhythm,
and we're gonna hear that here in a second.
Yeah.
Let me just, before we leave you, David, I know we've had a few questions about our guests today, and I'm going to try to keep most of the questions to the end of the show so we can have a nice flow with the music here. Alva Hendrickson, Alva, he was on a few weeks ago and wanted to know if you have a YouTube channel. You do. And so let me just use this to broaden the answer to that question. Of course, as always, guys, we are going to put the links to all the guys you see on the show today in the description below the video, so you will be able to contact them right down below. And of course, it is especially appropriate for David, who is below the southern hemisphere right now. David Brandenberger, always a treat. Yeah, always a treat. Always a treat to have you on the show. We wish you all the best. Thanks for coming on a Laidback Bike Report again.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Very nice. All right, folks, let's move along to Portland, Oregon. And I'm going to play a song for you now by Jonathan Garcia.
This one's for Marilyn. It's called Live Another Day. You know I'd change the world for you if I could. I'd find a way to help you feel understood. And the first thing that I would like to say is that we need your love to live another day. Goes like this. Come upon you crying. It goes like this. Ask you what went wrong. It goes like this. You say there's no sense trying. In a world I clearly don't belong. You know I'll sing about your virtues when I can. Make your long-term happiness a part of my plan. But if you're gonna win the game, you have to play. You know we need your love to live another day. It goes like this. You find the strength within you. It goes like this. Reach out for your friends. Then it goes like this. We don't feel sorry for you, 'cause you find your happiness again. You know I'd change the world for you if I could. I'd find a way to help you feel understood. And the first thing that I would like to say is that we need your love to live another day. Yes, we need your love to live another day.
Absolutely beautiful. Jonathan Garcia, welcome back to the Laidback Bike Report.
Thank you, Gary.
Wow, that was so beautiful. Now, I know that song has some very special meaning to you, and I don't think most people know about it. Can you tell us about that song?
So that was a song I wrote about Marilyn Hayward, which was, she owned Coventry Cycles, which was a recumbent-specific shop, and I went to work for her 5 years ago. And Marilyn had been in she had been in a serious bike accident and had brain damage from that accident. And she was very well respected in the recumbent community. She was, she held the world record at Sebring for her age group. And I didn't really know Marilyn before the accident, but I got to know her, of course, as I was managing her store. And she was very troubled. It was very difficult for her because she was just learning to, you know, do everything again. And she struggled a lot. So she had this, part of it was she could compare what she could remember what she was like before and how she was at that point. And so that she was, you know, she lost her fight with that depression, but I wrote that after she passed away.
It's a great tribute, Jonathan. I'm sure she would have loved that. So, all right, let's talk about your musical background. First of all, I've known you for a while now, and I know some things about you, but I was surprised a little while back to see you playing the guitar on Facebook, and that's when I first learned about your musical abilities. Tell us about your background.
Well, I started pretty early. I was 9 or 10 when I started taking piano lessons. So I started on piano. My mom kind of insisted on it. And my piano teacher happened to be my teacher in elementary school, and then he became my music teacher in high school. So I had it in, so to speak. So I played piano for the choirs, and then at a certain point they found out, or he found out I could sing, and so he kind of pushed me that direction. And then I got kind of recruited for Eastern Washington University to sing in their jazz choirs. So I spent 3 years there singing in their jazz choirs.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's pivot a bit here and talk a little bit about your recumbent world. So I think most folks know that you now own your own bike shop with a partner. And tell us about Rose City Recumbents.
So Rose City Recumbents here in Portland, Oregon, I own with Robert Haller, which is another name in the recumbent industry that you guys may know. But Robert is the product manager for Cruise Bike. And so he has been since we opened the store, actually before, I think. But the two of us make a really good team. During this COVID crisis, we've been just kind of staggering. We're open 5 days a week, but we're doing curbside drop off and pickup, and that's been working out really well. It's been a tough month because April was usually our busiest, our best month. And so our shop, we're half and half. We do half trikes and half two-wheel recumbents. And so we've always had that really nice balance. A lot of shops I know have switched to trikes. And for us, the two-wheel market, it's been really good for us because we're one of the last that carry a lot of the different brands. And we have examples of almost everything. And then we have some cool vintage stuff too.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, if you're anywhere near Portland, guys, you go check out Rose City Recumbents. They are an amazing shop, and online as well. One more quick question on the bike shop. So everyone I'm talking to, all of the retailers that I'm talking to, saying, especially maintenance wise, though, it's getting very busy now because everyone is out riding. Now, Portland, everybody's always out riding. It's not so unusual there. Is that your experience as far as having maintenance being a big demand right now?
Well, we've had a steady flow of, past customers that come in and have us. I've been doing a lot of handlebar switches and a lot of those kind of things. There's a lot of bike shops in Portland. So more so than a lot of cities our size. So we end up having some of that carries over, but, we're really specific. So all the recumbent people, they come to us, but I would say we've just missed out on the sales part, because we're just hesitant, at least initially, to put people on bikes and trikes until we feel like that's a more safe situation for everyone.
Sure, absolutely. All right, let's finish it up here with this second very cool song that also has a story behind it.
Yeah.
Tell us about, this is called Take You There, right? Tell us about Take You There.
Yeah. So this is another, you asked me if I had any bicycle themed songs, and this is probably the closest. So this is a song I wrote for Maria Parker, the owner of Cruise Bike, and she was about to do the second Ram that she did with the team and with Jim and company. And I wanted to kind of express the feeling of riding a bike without mentioning, any of the parts of the bike. So it's describing the feeling. And there's some reference there to, I use the word hope because she had that movie about, that was called Hope. And so I made a couple references to that, but that was what I put together, and it came out. I play it in my live show quite a bit. So yeah, I like the song.
All right.
I think she did. I don't know.
Well, hopefully she'll watch and let us know about that. Jonathan, thank you so much for taking the time to create a couple of beautiful pieces for us. We look forward to seeing you again soon, and you take care of yourself.
All right. Thanks, Gary.
All right. Let's go ahead and play the next song then.
Take you there. I am life, I am loving, I have strength, I have soul. No, I'm not afraid of giving. I am a friend to one and all. There's no words can defeat me, for I'm stronger than your fear. I have hope, I found meaning. I wanna take you there. I wanna take you there. Down where the road meets the sun, up where the healing has begun. Here where the spirit flows, free with the wind. Though the world may try, take your sacred pride. Right here by your side, we'll begin again. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, and begin again. I am life, I am love, and I have strength, I have soul. I will sing this affirmation, I'm giving up control. There's no need for pain or sorrow, for love will find a cure. I've seen hope, I've found meaning, and I wanna take you there. I wanna take you there. Down where the road meets the sun, up where the healing has begun. Here where the spirit flows, one with the wind. Though the world may try, take your sacred pride. Right here by your side, we'll begin again.
Thank you, Jonathan. Beautiful, beautiful. I hope Maria gets a chance to hear that. So, all right, folks, and on to our last guest here. One of these guys is no stranger to the Laidback Bike Report, has been on many times as a panelist and as a guest. And one guy is a complete stranger to the Laidback Bike Report, and we're happy to welcome him. So here are Tim Cain and Chris Roberts. Hello, guys.
Gary, how you doing?
Hello, everybody.
It's great to have you guys on. So, Tim, yeah, you know, ever since you came on to help us on the show, we have all, I'm sure, noticed the guitars in the background, and you talked to us a little bit about it. And when this show's idea came into my head, I had you in mind for playing a little something, and thankfully you were all over it. So, first of all, let's we're going to get to the music at the very end to play us out, but let's have a little talk first about what you do and what you ride and that sort of thing. So, first of all, Tim, tell us about your musical background, and then, if you can, Chris, let's hear yours.
Sure. Well, Chris and I are childhood friends, so we go way back. And I got my first guitar from Chris. We started playing as kids, and he bought a kind of a cheap piece of crap and played it for a while, and then sold it to me. So we had the early introduction of wanting to be rock stars, like a lot of kids do, and been played in a lot of bands in and out together, and played shows all around here. But mostly my main thing I enjoy doing now is writing and recording, production kind of stuff. Chris, we'll see his significant other singing with him here. He plays a lot of live shows out now. I don't do as many. And then our other guy in the video, Bill Stone, he's a really talented drummer and musician. Still play around a lot with him. So just been a fan of listening to music and playing music my whole life. So it's really kind of that simple for me.
All right. And Chris, so you were a childhood friend of Tim's. I'm not going to ask you what he was like as a kid, because we're going to go there. But tell me a little bit about your musical background, other than selling crappy guitars to your friends.
Well, as you can see from all the guitars in Tim's background, he's moved on from that first crappy guitar that I sold him. Had a bargain, I must say. But yeah, I started out playing as a young teenager, and ended up having ambition to be a rock and roll musician on the road. I toured for a few years with a band called Alliance in the 80s, early 90s, and then I gave it up and had 4 kids. And to be quite honest with you, I'm kind of glad I wasn't a touring musician with a family. However, I'm kind of making up for that a little bit now. My significant other, Michelle, and I play out quite a bit, and we do things like house parties, bars, hotels, and things like that. But we have fun with it, and we do quite a bit of recording as well with Tim and others around here. We just have a good time.
That's the most important thing, and I think that shows, at least on this video, that you guys have fun. So, all right, how about the recumbent side of things? So, how did you guys? We know a little bit about Tim's. Chris, how did you get into recumbents?
Well, interestingly enough, through Tim, he sold me my first Vision R40. And underseat steering took me a little bit to get used to it. And I can remember I called Tim not too many days after I got the bike and said, well, I'm not so sure about this. He said, keep with it. I'm so glad I did, because it ended up being a wonderful bike. I put thousands of miles on it, and I've since purchased a Rans. And then also I have a Performer JC26X trike, which I really enjoy now. I wouldn't go back. And then Michelle, my significant other, she rides a Vision R44 now.
Awesome. So I didn't know your wife rode too. And Tim, well, we're not going to go deep into this. I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but why don't you see if you can do it in 30 seconds and name off some of the bikes that are in your garage.
Oh, well, they're fewer. I've been thinning the herd so I can buy more. But the R40, as Chris pointed out, and unlike the crappy guitar he sold me, I gave him a
Sam, let's show while we're doing this. If we could, let's show the slides, and then as
sure.
Relays all the bikes.
This is our drummer Bill Stone, by the way, super talented musician guy too. He's on a Rans V-Rex there.
Okay,
we're talking Bill into getting a trike, so we're kind of helping him shop for a trike these days. And
right. Let's just kind of page through him, Trey, if you would.
And that's Chris on his Rans Extreme. First day he got that. He got that from AD Carson, by the way.
Ah, okay.
AD met us, and we realized nowhere near the halfway point as we drove up to meet him between Des Moines and where he lives. Like, hey, wait.
Recycled recumbents. Okay.
Some shots. Got these last week out on the trail. This is in the
nice weather in Iowa.
Yeah, we had some great days there. We are today too. So you're gonna go out for a ride later. This is me, and when it wasn't nice. I did a lot of winter riding this year though, so I'm glad I did.
That's good. What were you riding there? I can't.
That was my Scorpion FS26.
Okay, all right.
And here I'm on my HP Velotechnic speed machine, which that's kind of my go-to ride when I need the suspension if I'm going to hit a rough trail somewhere. So,
okay.
And that's the same bike. This is Chris and I just took turns taking pictures of each other for the show. So
very nice. I think that's
some of the behind-the-scenes secrets.
We got one more shot. There's a couple more here. Yep. Now look at you.
That's a Big Creek Lake, which is a great fishing lake here in the Des Moines area.
Okay.
So, and I
think that there going away.
Cedarville Lake. But.
All right, very good. All right, very good. So quickly, what other recumbents do you have?
My most recent is the Carver Tie Glide that we did a couple shows about, the custom job that turned into production bike, and I've had a couple different Ranses, V-Rexes, a lot of miles on those. The Vision R40. Trikes, Cat Trike 700, the HP, obviously I just mentioned, too many to mention, Gary. I've tried them all. You know, I'm
That's
always looking
fine.
for. It's like guitars. You're
I
always
should
looking
have
for
I
the
should have
perfect
worked it
ride.
out with you better to say
Yeah.
something like, and I guess we're running out of time, ladies and gentlemen. So I think is what I will say. And folks, you are in for a treat with the song that Tim put together here. Tell us about the song before we get to it, if you would.
Sure. This is a song I wrote, and Chris's girlfriend Michelle, she has a wonderful voice. She's singing on it, and a buddy, another recumbent trike rider, Dan Heffern, plays the bass on it. He's not in the video, but he has this 700, a Cat Trike 700, and Bill Stone, who I mentioned earlier, is playing the drums. So this is just the original tin. We put in a ride of Chris and I that we took last week.
Right, you're going to see that on one of the squares that you see in the video. So, all right, Chris Roberts, Tim Cain, thank you so much for coming on the Laidback Bike Report, sharing your multiple talents and multiple bikes with us. So, thanks a lot, guys.
I really enjoyed all the other bent musicians too.
Thanks.
Fun.
We'll stick around and we'll open up for questions here right after the end of this one. So, all right, let's play that very last song.
You rolled your eyes and said, baby, you're never gonna find another lover like me. After a while you sighed and smiled, sing for me. I rolled my eyes and said, baby, you're never gonna find another lover like me. After a while I sighed and smiled, sing for me.
Same for me. That was wonderful, Tim and Chris. Loved it. And the rest of you guys. All right, Lars, if we could bring up our guests. I think everyone except for Jonathan is still here. We'll take a little bow and have a couple of questions on chat here we might want to ask here. I think Kevin is the questions for Kevin. Kevin, how you doing? You still there? Can you hear us, Kevin? Kevin, can you hear us?
No, mate.
Kevin, can you hear us? All right. So the question was, how do you fit in the mango? I don't know that Kevin can actually hear us right now. So we'll have him answer that in the comments in the video below so that we know. And let's see here. There was also, I think, a couple of comments here at the end. Yeah. And there's some applause for you guys. Thank you very much. From Alva. More thumbs up, more applause. And also from the UK, I know Julie and Mark were watching. They are appreciative. And Joe Antonio, outstanding. No sound. Yeah, so we can hear you, but you can't hear us, Kevin. So don't worry about it, buddy.
Your mic is muted.
Yep. So now we hear you now. Can you hear us? No, it's okay. All right. So anyways, one last thanks to all of the musicians who played, and we really appreciate it, guys. Lars, come on back to me if you would. We put them all backstage again. And we will finish up the show here talking about what's coming up. First of all, next week we have our regular monthly Laidback Bike Report, May 10th, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Still working on some stuff for that, so don't have too much to say. And the week after that, May 17th, we'll go back to the Laidback Bike Report Town Hall format. And we have some stuff lined up for you. 2 o'clock, of course, on that one as well. Bent Expo Videos posted another one this week. It was Ice Trikes, and we've had a lot of people have a look at that already. So Patrick Selwood was on and talked a lot about what Ice Trikes has available. So we hope you guys will take a look at that. And working with Cruise Bike and Azub right now. So in the coming week or two, we should have those Bent Expo videos out as well. All right, guys. So if you enjoy our shows and everything that we do, or at least partially what we do, we'd appreciate it if you would like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. And you can look for that little white eye up there. It will take you to our webpage. And we can also hope for your Patreon patronage. That is, if you contribute $1 a month at the very minimum, it will help us out on the Patreon page. So that helps to support us as well. We'd appreciate it. All right. Let me thank my my wonderful panelists who were slimmed down this week because we had so many guests. We can only get just the bare essential skeleton crew. Slim down skeletons. See, you guys are losing weight just coming on the show. You're welcome. So thanks, Trey, Lars, Larry. Great job. We appreciate all your hard work. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. So, and Trey, as you can see, does have some musical instincts. I couldn't talk him into coming on this show, but if this is successful, we may do another. And we will be hearing from Trey, I think, blowing his horn as usual. All right, guys, that is going to do it, I think, for the rest of us. So thanks to my guests. Thanks. Thanks to my crew. And most of all, thanks to all of you for watching. So until next time, so long, Bent Riders.